right, Nazmul. So let's let's come to this. If you have any question on anything, okay, don't hesitate to ask me question. Let me start everything from scratch. Okay, so let's say that you have this. Let me remove this project and start a project from scratch. Okay, so how do you in Eclipse? How do you create project, Nazmul? File, and then you say new, and then Java project, right? Java project. Let's say we are in this particular session, we are going to learn core Java. So remember that for Selenium, there are libraries. These are separate from core Java. Core Java is the basic. Okay, so let's say I'm going to give this name of this project as core Java topics, for example, right? Core Java topics, and then I'm going to say finish. Now your project folder is created. Now where is your project folder created? Right, if you right click here, if you say properties, you will be able to see, right? Can you see my project is created under my C drive Selenium folder, and then workspaces core Java, there is a folder, and then inside there I have a folder called core Java topics. You got it? Okay. Now, so here inside this, can you see it will be creating a source folder. So inside the source folder, I'm going to create a package. Okay. So what is package? Right. If you work on a normal Java project, that for real life work, right? That Java project will have many classes. Now to organize, let's say that what do you do if you have like a shelf, right? You put stuff in particular place of shelf. Let's say you put your you know different, you put books on different kind of books. When you classify, you put novels on somewhere, you put programming language book in one place, so that you can organize everything, and whenever you need to find something, you can get it easily, right? So what package does, inside package you can classify, you can put your classes, you can organize your classes and different resources inside package. So package is kind of a shelf. Okay, so let's say I'm going to name it as you can give any name, but normally package name starts with a lowercase letter. It is a tradition, you do not have to start it with a lowercase letter, but it is a tradition. Let's say that core, and if you have another word, you start it with a uppercase letter. Core Java. Yes. So this is what we are calling camel case. Can you see camel case? This is called lower camel case. It starts with a lowercase word, and then after that, if you have more words, each of the word will be starting with a uppercase letter. Finish. Now I have your package. Now inside the package, you will be creating your classes. Inside the package, you will be creating your class. Now let's say what is your class name, right? I'm going to name it as um, I'm going to name it as again, class name is upper camel case, again camel case, but it starts with the uppercase letter. So let's my core Java. You do not have to do it, you do not have to follow this convention, but if you follow, it is the convention in the real life. Okay, So let's say that I'm going to name it by following this convention, and then I'm going to say finish. Now I have a code that I'm going to bring for this. Okay. So here what I'm going to do. So what is the, I do not need this. So what is the name, the previous class? What is the name of my class, Nazmul? My core Java class. So I'm bringing a little bit, actually, I'm bringing a little bit code to give you example. Core Java class, and actually here I'm going to remove this puppy by using Core Java class. I'll tell you, I will explain it. Now you take this class, this code was previously written. You take this code here. Okay. Now, so what does this mean? What does this mean, right? Now, if you remember, let me. So before I, um, so here, let me tell you this. Let me tell you this. Now, can you see that this is your class. This is your class. Your class started here and your class ended here. Okay. Now, inside your class, what is the name of your class? My core Java class. Right? Now, what is that class? As we have discussed previously, class is the blueprint of object. Class has behavior and properties. Class has behavior and properties. Now, I'll tell you what does this mean. So, class has behavior. Behavior means it will do something. Class has properties. Properties means, let's say that dog is a class, right? Then dog has color. Like what color is it? Brown, red, black, right? These are properties. And then dog barks, right? These are behavior. Dog runs. These are behavior. Dog eats. These are behavior. You got it? So now, can you see this? My core Java class. This core Java class has a method. Can you see? When you see that it starts with the same name, and can you see this pair of parentheses? This is what we are calling constructor. I'll tell you what is constructor. And can you see there is another constructor? It is the same name as the class, right? Whenever you see inside the class, there is a method, right? Remember method. So public, can you see this method started here and it ended here? This is a method, and then this is another method, right? Just a method. It is doing something like dog barks, right? It is doing something. Now, if your method has same name as the class name, then this is a constructor method. Then this is a constructor method. Yeah. Uh-huh. Right. So, so actually, what I'm going to do, let me not keep anything, then it will be more easier. So when you define a class, this is your class. Okay, this is your class. Can you see public class, and then you have started the class here, and then you have ended the class here. Do you have anything in the class? No. Okay. Now let's start with this. Let's say that I'm declaring a variable int is. Okay. Integer is. So what does integer do? Integer stores numeric fractional data. Does it make sense? Okay. So this is a property is, right? Let's say me, I'm a I'm a class. I can talk, I can this is my behavior. I can talk, I can run, I can code, right? This is my behavior. I have age. Age is not doing anything, but it is a property. Now this age is a property, right? Now, so actually instead of age, I can keep it age. Okay. Then what about naming this class something else? Let's say that can you see that you can refactor here? Refactor and rename. Let's name this class as my favorite to make it a little bit meaningful to you. Okay, finish. Now can you see it changed here, right? Can you see the name class name change here? Now my favorite dog has a name, right? uh, Now what will be the name will be string, right? You understand this? String means it will be holding alphanumeric, right? My favorite dog has a name. I'm giving this str name. Okay, and then um, my favorite dog, let's say, runs, right? I'll say I'll define a method. My dog activities, right? And then I'll say here, you will have, when you define a method, you will have to give a return type, void. Void means I'll explain what is return type, but at the moment I'm giving void. Okay. Now I'm going to say system dot out dot println system.out.println, and remember every Java, so this is your method. This is a custom method. It started here, it ended here, right? Now activities, one of the activities from my dog will be it barks, right? Let's keep it limited here, it barks. Now, okay, now it means it has a name, right? We'll be using this name later on. Okay, now it barks. Now this is the class. You have just defined the class. Inside the class, you have a property, you have a behavior, you have a method, right? Method will do something, it will print something, right? Now, so when you execute this block, right, it will say this selection cannot be launched and there are no recent launches. Let me launch it and you will see that if you click on play, run, it cannot run. It cannot run because it doesn't have a driver method. Remember, when you have a Java program, your execution starts from which method? No, your execution starts from main method, right? So you will have to bring the main method. Now how will you bring the main method? You can bring the main method, you can write it. So how will you write it? The main method, definition of main method is this: public static void main. Public static void main, and then here you remember every method will have this curly bracket. Now this curly bracket is your class ending here, right? Class. I'm just putting comment for your understanding. Your class ending here, right? This is what your main method ending here. Does it make sense? This is what? This is your activity. My dog activities ended here. These are comments. You understand this? If you put something with this 2 forward slash, this is what? This is comment. It will not be executed. Now, in your main method, you will always have to have this main method. Always you will be defining it in that way. You will be putting this. This is a always you will have to write this, right? Now if you try to execute it, now it will let you execute it. And you see it didn't complain now, but it didn't do anything, right? Can you see it didn't do anything? Okay, now here what I'm going to do, if I say system dot out dot println, this system dot out dot println, what does it do? Can you tell me? Yeah, it speaks basically. Program cannot speak, so the way it will speak by system dot out dot println. So let's say that we are saying here starting execution. You need the main method to start your execution. That is the starting point of your execution. If you have thousands of lines here, right, it will not be executed until you are calling it from your main method. Now you will see that it will be printing something here. Can you see in the output window starting execution? So that is what it is speaking to the outside world. Okay. Now let's come to this. So now you have a class, Nazmul, right? Can you see you have a class? This is your class, right? Okay. Now you are going to, like, if you want to use any of this property or method, remember you will have to declare an object. What you will have to do, Nazmul? You will have to declare an object of that class. The class is like, okay, this is what it has, this is what it has. But if you want to let them work, if you want to get some work done by whatever you have inside the class, you will have to declare an object. Does it make sense? I'll give you more explanation now. Can you see how do you declare object? Let's say object, okay, equal to, and then you will have to use this new word, and then you will have to give this class again, and then this is how you define object. Can you see how I define object? So this is my object, and then I am this is my class name. How do you define an object from a class, right? First you put the class name and then you put the object name. This can be anything, this one, and you use equal to neo keyword, and then you put my favorite again this class name. That is how you define an object. You got it? This new is a keyword. To define object, you will have to use that. So keyword means like this comes with Java language. Okay, this new. Okay, now by using that object, right? Let's say you define that object. still it will just print that starting execution, but it will not do anything. Can you see? Starting execution, but it didn't do anything, right? You got it? Now let's say that if you use this object, obj1, right? Obj1 dot, you will see what you have. Okay, what do you have? Can you see my dog activities? Right? You call this. Execute it. Like from the main method, you have to call it. Get the activities. Now if you run it, can you see it works? Does it make sense now? You understand this? Okay, now let me do this. Now let's bring this, let me, this call, right? Let me comment out. So it will not be executed, right? Now, can you see? It barks, it is not executed, right? Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring a constructor. Can you see? How do you bring constructor method? It is same name, and then you put this parenthesis, and then you put this, right? Can you see? This is a constructor, and inside the constructor, you print something. Inside the constructor, you print something like here. Let's say I'm going to say object is creating. So I'll tell you, this constructor, did I call it here? No, right? I didn't call this constructor. Does it make sense to you? Now, let me show you what will happen. If I run it, can you see? Even though I didn't call the constructor, but constructor was executed. Can you see? It's creating. Can you see this? Okay. So what is that constructor? Constructor is a method that automatically executes when you create an object. Let's say that I'm putting a breakpoint here. Let me put a breakpoint here. It automatically executes, Nazmal. Now let me put a breakpoint here, right? Now, if I let me clear this output, right click, clear, right? Now, you will see, now if I debug this code, how do you debug, Nazmul? Do you remember? You click on this debug button. And then when you click on this debug button, yeah, switch. Now, you will see that your code, can you see this arrow here? We are waiting here, right? Because the breakpoint was here. And then now if you want to execute this line, can you see step over? You click on step over. Now can you see starting execution? Okay. Now in this line number 15, what are we doing in line number 15? We are creating an object. Remember, your constructor will be called when you create object. Automatically it will be called constructor. Got it? So if when I'll be executing this line number 15, now it will be printing object is creating. You got it? You will see that I'm executing this line, and in the output, what do I have in the output? Object is creating. That means even though I didn't call that constructor, so what is the difference between this constructor method and this custom method? You need to call this custom method, and this constructor method you do not need to call it. Understandable? No, it doesn't have any return type. Remember, normal method vs constructor method doesn't have a return type. Okay, good, good. Now, so can you see we are here? We are here in the main, right? Okay. Now, so there is another thing called Destructor method. So Destructor in Java, you do not have to uh, call the Destructor method. In C++ you will have to call the Destructor method. In Java, whenever you are exiting out from the execution, right, this object will be automatically destructed. Like in Java, we do not have a destructor method, but when your execution is done, when you are exiting from main method, that means your execution is done. While it will be exiting out from main method, it will be destructing this object one. What does this destruction means, right? So when you declare an object, it takes memory from your computer. It reserves some memory in the computer memory. So when you exit out from the execution, the Java automatically destruct that object and remove the memory allocation from the memory. So what is the purpose of constructor? Constructor automatically get calls. Destructor again automatically get calls, but you do not have to specifically write it in your method. It will be automatically, the object will be automatically destructed by an automatic call of the destructor method. But the constructor method, if you want, you will have to write it. Does it make sense? Constructor versus destructor. Yeah, automatically happens when you exit out from the main method. Exactly. Okay, now we will learn a new thing. So here, let me bring this. Now you saw that this constructor, when it doesn't have any parameter here, can you see this curly bracket, pair of curly bracket? When you do not give anything here, then we are calling this as a default constructor. Default constructor or constructor without parameter. Now we can have a constructor with parameter. I'll tell you. Let me copy this, okay, and then let me put this here. Now here I'm going to say string um, this will get a name, so string name. Okay, then can you see this variable here, str name? Whatever name I'm passing, I'm going to put this name equal to name. Let's say name from main. So I'm passing a name from main method, right? And saving it in that other container that I have. Okay, you got it? I'll tell you. Let me do this. So let me tell you what we are going to do. So now I can create another object 2, and then I can pass a name. What is your what do you want your dog name? Sam. Okay, Sam, right? Now what will happen? So here we are going to say let's say that for now you ignore this. So I'm going to say my dog name is, and then here I'm going to say, I'm going to provide a plus. And what is the name? It is, when you are passing this Sam, it will be coming here, it will be stored on this variable, and then you want to print it here. Got it? So what will happen is, can you see, this is again, it doesn't have a return type and it has the same name as the class name, right? So this is another constructor, but it has a parameter. Can you see? It has a string parameter. That means when you declare an object and you can pass a name. Got it? Again, it will be automatically called. Let me execute this and provide more explanation on this. Run this. Now, can you see we are on line number what? 19. If I execute this line, what will happen? Print out starting execution, right? Starting execution is there. Now, where I am, line 20. If I execute this line, so it is basically what I am doing here. I am creating an object. Do you understand this? I am creating an object, but while I'm creating this object, am I passing anything to the constructor? I am not passing anything to the constructor. Can you see here? I know that when I am creating this object, my constructor will be automatically called, right? Which constructor will be automatically called? The default constructor that do not have any parameter. Does it make sense? It will be calling the default. It will be calling the default constructor where there is no parameter, because here when I am declaring that object, I didn't put anything here, right? Now you will see if I execute this line, can you see object is creating there, right? Now where am I? Now I am in line 21. In line 20, what is the difference between line 21 and 20? So in line number 20, I'm creating an object. In line number 21, again, I'm creating an object. Line number 20, when I'm creating an object, I'm not passing any parameter to the constructor. Right? Right? I'm not passing any parameter to the constructor, and it was wise enough to call that particular constructor, right? Now, in line number 21, I'm creating another object, but in this time, I'm passing a value to the constructor, right? Now, does this constructor has the facility to receive a value? No. Which constructor has the facility to receive a value? This one, right? Because I put here something string or I put a name, and this value, whatever you are passing from here, it will be going to this variable, and then you can use it. Which one? Yeah, name from main. I mean, you can put it anything. You can put name, you can put x. It is a variable name, right? The name that we are passing from here, it will be going there. It is a container, right? Say when you drink water in your house, right? You put a glass under the freezer thing and the water comes and it you drink water from glass, right? So it is the same thing. You are putting water from here, you are pouring water from here, and this water is going to this container. This is the container, string type container. Uh-huh. Yeah. Now this value, whatever you are passing from here, you will see that I am stepping into. So now can you see where we are at this point? Line 10. Line 10. Now can you see name from main? What does it hold? Same, because you pour the water from here from line number 21 and it is the glass. Name from main is the glass. What does it has? Milk or water? Yes. It has water. It has same, right? Right. Now if you execute, if you step into, you will see that in this line, right? It will be executing. Notice that when you passed a value, right? When you passed a value, it didn't call this constructor. It is wise enough, although it has same name. It has same name, right? Favorite dog, but based on the number of parameters, based on what you have here, it is calling the suitable method. Does it make sense to you? So now if you execute it, you will see that my dog name is Sam. It has printed. Now if you take out the value Sam, it will never be executed. This constructor, it will never be executed. Always if you take out the value, it will always execute this constructor. Execute it. Okay, now can you see both of the constructor has the same name, right? Now based on what you are passing, right, it is calling the corresponding constructor, right? This is what called overloading in object oriented programming. Overloading, have you heard about this overloading word? Overloading, they will be asking you in the interview, what is function overloading, or what is method overloading? Remember, this constructor is a method, right? Now based on what parameter you are passing, it is deciding which my favorite dog is to call, right? So this is what we are overloading it with data. Based on the data that you pass from here, a corresponding method will be called, right? This is what we are calling when you have the same method but you have different data. Based on the data, if your method is being called, then we are calling it as function overloading or method overloading. Overloading is like same name but different type or different parameters argument. So when you have a method with same name but has different parameters, then we are calling this as function overloading or method overloading. Okay, so now you understand this. Like, let's say that if you have another constructor, right? If you have another constructor, this, and then name, and then put, let's say, in ace, right? Now you create another object. So let's say my dog name is this, and you add another statement. My dog is is is, and you put this is here. And then when you define the object here, right? When you define the object here. So now, if you call only with Sam, then it will be calling which method? Which constructor? This one. If you provide, let's say Sam, and let's say is 10. If you provide this, and you'll have to give a different name. If you provide this, then it will be calling which method? The third one. It is wise enough, although you have same name, but depending on the data, it is calling the corresponding method, right? This is what we are calling overloading. This is what we are calling what? Overloading. Now you do this debug again. Okay, now where we are? Line number 25. Line number 25. So I'm going to go into, okay, it will be printing. It will be printing, and then now where we are? Line number 26. Number 26, which constructor will be called? The first one, because it doesn't have any parameter, right? So can you see? I'm there, and then I'm going into, I'm printing, right? And then I'm going back to the main method again. Main method. Main method is your friend, best friend. Okay. Then you go to this line number 27. Now we have one argument, right? So which constructor it will be going into? Second one, right? So here, here, can you see? Now we are printing something. It is printing, right? And then again it is going back to the main method, right? Then is now where we are in line number 28, right? Based on, now it will be calling the parameter with it will be calling with the constructor with two parameters, right? Does it make sense? Now it is printing, okay, my dog name is Sam, and then my dog age is 10, and then your execution is done. When you are, can you see now line number 31, we are exiting out from the main method, right? So you have created three objects. All of these objects will be destructed now. Got it? Is it clear now, the concept of you know, the concept of constructor and object and class? So when you see string, data type, string is data type, it will be able to store alphanumeric data like Sam 1 2 3. It will be in the double quotation. Can you see? Whatever I'm passing here from this is in double quotation. It will always be in double quotation, and it will be able to store only alphanumeric data. And integer is another data type which you will be able to store only decimal number without any fraction like 10, 12, 15, not 10.50. No. You got it? Now let me um, let me do one other thing. Let me define one more constructor, and then here instead of int I'm going to do float. Float will be able to store decimal data, float weight. Okay, you got it? Now can you see it is complaining about age because age is not here. Now can you see you have defined age there in this method, right? But it is not available here. It is complaining about age, right? Because whatever you define in a method, it is only available inside the method. If you come outside of the method, it is not available. So yeah, my dog weight is this, right? Okay. Now Let me define another object. And here I'm going to subject 4 and its name in what is here. Let's say this is your dog Sam, right? Let's say my dog is Mr. Puppy. Okay, this is my dog and its weight is 30.5. Okay, Mr. Puppy and 30.5. Now can you see this? It is complaining about something. What is that? Let me see. String name and then float weight. String int and then let me save it and then continue. Changes cannot be swapped. So here I'm saying I'm passing a string remove to match my favorite dog string, my favorite dog int and my favorite dog a parameter string double. Oh, actually instead of float let me put double. Yeah, double does no. Can you see? Double does fractional data. Can you see this? This is a fractional data. So what int does, int take full number like 10, 15, right? String takes something, can you see string? String is for something in double quotation, alphanumeric. Double is for decimal data. Float does the same thing, but we'll come to the float later. Float is again, it will be storing decimal data, but we'll be coming to float. Now, for now, you have int, you have double, you have string. These three type of data type. int stores what? Numerical without fractional data. Double does fractional data. String does what? String does alphanumeric, right? Now, if you execute, you will see that if you do the okay, now let me step over. So we are in what line? It is not we are in let me just stop this execution and let me do the debug again. Okay, now we are in line number 31, right? Going to step over. So now if I do this, it will be going to the default parameter. Now it is in default parameter. Now where will it go? It will go to the constructor that has only a string. Can you see it is in the there? And then it will go the constructor where we have name and age because it is non integer data without fraction, right? Now this guy, where will it go? Last one. Why? Because of the data. Data is deciding where it will go. See? Right? Does it make sense? Now if I move this method from here to there, will it change anything? Execution sequence? It shouldn't, because it will be going in the same sequence the way you are doing here. You got it? All right. So all of these method are constructor method. Now if you have this method, right, my dog activities, now you'll have to, if you want to call this method, you will have to call it. If you want to do this method If you want the method to be doing its work, then you will have to call it. Does it make sense? It is not a constructor. Constructor get called automatically, but okay, the execution is done. Right? Can you see? Oh, actually, it didn't execute. Let me see if there is anything that. Let me see what it says. Okay, now can you see? It barks. Execution is done. So all the constructor executed. It barks executed. Right? Does it sounds good so far? Okay. Now I'll be sending you this document. I have some definition here, example here. Okay, the thing that you said, and you see T1, T2, we have two classes, right? You go through this and we'll have an explanation next week on this. Yeah, review this document, right? All of these things are your interview preparation: class, object, constructor, and then can you see I have parameterized constructors, and then Java package, abstract class. You go through this, I'll be explaining more next week. Mhm, mhm. Yeah, all right, man. So far, is that everything looking good from your end, like understanding wise? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, Nazmol. So yeah, so this thing I'll be sharing you the document and stuff, and in the meantime, if you have any question, right? If you during the mid of the week, if you see like, oh man, I don't understand this, give me a call. I'll be explaining. All right, sure. Thank you. Bye.